please, and stand well. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, everyone. Our meeting is called to order for May 4th, 2023, Jefferson County LDC. Privilege of the floor. Do we have any guests?
Catherine and Craig.
Okay. We have privilege of the floor. For anyone looking.
Catherine was just.
Okay, so probably not a yes. We'll move to our minutes on page 3. We accept page 3 through 6 and motion to accept them as presented. 15 first, second, please. You guys are simultaneous, so Christine first, Dave Comfort second. Any discussion or comments to the minutes? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Page 7, Paul, the treasurer's report, please.
Really, that out of the ordinary, everything's in line with expectations. The receivables, we have 2 that are 30 days in arrears, but that's just a timing issue. Everybody else is current and everything else is really good. That would be it for the LDC.
Got a motion to accept the second. Okay, that was Rob the first?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We can see Rob and Bill, Alyssa second. You can probably see better than me, Pat. I can't see you. Any further discussion on the treasurer's report? Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's no committee reports that I'm aware of, so we can skip the council reports and start with Jay. He's got one important appointment to discuss and an update, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So yes, I would ask for the board's consideration of appointing Danny Baker, owner of Cross Island Farms on Wellesley Island, to serve as the horticulture representative on the Jefferson County Ag Development Council. That will actually fill out all of the vacancies. That will bring us up to 22 people serving on the council, but it's actually pretty interesting. We get stuff done. We have great conversations. We make good decisions. Well, we don't make decisions. We give guidance. And so it'll be exciting to have Danny. If anybody knows Danny, she is a character, and she will let you know exactly what she's thinking about all the different issues and stuff. So look forward to her serving on the council with your approval. Do you want me to let that happen or keep going, Rob?
If we can do this quickly and then you can flow. So we have a request from Jay to fill the horticultural representative with Ms. Danny Baker, as discussed. She's been nominated to fill this position, so we have a motion to accept as Ed John the second. Any further discussion on the appointment? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you very much.
She can use the helicopter on weekends only.
Thank you very much.
Well, Jay, as a footnote though, for anybody who's interested, Danny has written a book.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique book, and I encourage anyone to go online and check it out. I think it's going to be her nice claim to fame for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more books to come. When she authored the book before it came out, we had her on the podcast. So if you want to learn about the book, go back and listen to the podcast. She'll tell you all about it. But anyways, so yeah. Other topics, food resiliency grants. We're still wrapping up the value added side of things. We have a couple farms that have not done anything yet that we are pushing to start their projects. But I think we're probably around 80%, 70–80% have participated. A few have dropped. They decided not to do their projects once they saw little bit of paperwork they have to do, it's not working, so. Which is fine, because we'll roll that money over into an next round, so. But that'll be minor compared to the overall success of the program, so very happy with that. Let's see, CWT Farms, if you haven't been out with free, right behind Casnovi equipment, there is a building being built. That is the main structure of CWT Farms. It'll be approximately 38,000 square feet. And that will be the hatching operation where they bring the eggs in and ship the chicks out. So glad to see that being built. There will be 2 more buildings that will go on site after that's constructed. So the actual incubator equipment is being built in Ohio and Toronto, Canada, as we speak. So that is being prepared to be put into the facility. On a sad note,
And are they all destined for Canada too?
not all. With CWT, a lot of their customers are in the northeastern US. So it's very likely that you could stop by a broiler chicken from one of your supermarkets, and it actually was hatched out here in Jefferson County in the future. So that's.
Will it have logo where?
I'll talk to them about that, Paul, and see what kind of logo they put on the chicken. They'll be tasty. That's the important part. So we're excited to see that project happening. Dairy marketing, trying to attract a dairy processor. Unfortunately, it is looking like the Fairlife company, that's the company that we've been working on for quite a while, will be going in Western New York State. There's supposedly an agreement between the dairy cooperatives as to who's going to supply the milk. We did everything we could down to, we finally found the CEO's cell phone number and reached out directly and didn't get a response. So somebody must have tipped them off not to answer a certain phone number. But anyway, so we went that far in trying to attract this company. So it was a valiant effort. We'll figure out how to attract one up here eventually. Dairy Parade is coming along really great, better than it ever has. We have over 25 entries right now, 7 marching bands, and 7 is usually the most that we get. There's actually a couple that are there every year that haven't signed up yet, so I'm hoping we'll exceed the 7 this year. But it is the biggest and best celebration of agriculture in Northern New York. I'm very excited to have volunteers, so thank you very much, Bob. So make sure you turn out on June 2nd, which is also opening day of baseball. So I'll be at the Dairy Parade. So that'll be fun. Tomorrow I have Congresswoman Stefanik's ag staff. They wanted to come in. They want to talk about agricultural issues, so I got her coming. I've been assisting 2 farms on some environmental issues that they're dealing with right at the moment, so I've been working with them on those. And just a lot of other things that keep popping up. State budget, relatively good for agricultural projects, relatively not so good with some of the other stuff that was put into the budget. But I won't go into politics. That's just not a place for me to go. Unless you want to talk about office. Question. Paul.
CWT, when we did the pilot, did we do the pilot for all the facilities or just the main building? I don't recall.
Would have been the whole complex. I think we updated it.
Yeah.
So
I just don't recall.
I think we changed it. Cause the 38,000 rings the bell. And mine come in at like 19 or 21 first, and then it
went
kind
up.
of upgraded or doubled or something like that.
Well, we should make sure that our pilot's going to cover the entire facility.
Yeah.
Cause I don't recall the old mines, not recalling whether we had 3 structures included in the pilot.
I'm not sure that it did. It is something we need to check on because It caught me by surprise when I found out that they were building a separate two-story administrative building, so.
I think we should find out and we can, we get them, in the system.
Yeah, it may have been two, but it certainly wasn't three buildings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't recall an admin building, but I recall a production facility.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we should support whatever they're doing.
yeah,
So-
if needed, we can amend the,
Yeah.
pilot, so.
Jay, is, I don't recall the footprint showing three individual structures. Is that because the availability of the building materials, they chose this footprint, or?
I think as they were going through the process of, determining how to put this all together and minimize costs, I think, and Rob, if you know anything that can help.
I
with
don't,
this.
but through the design processes, probably when they started out very conceptual.
Okay.
Probably with cloud,
Yeah.
as they-
Because I remember like a single-ish building, not like
Yeah.
individual.
That's my
structures.
assumption.
That it is how it started out, just one single building, but then they doubled their capacity because of the demand for their checks. They started
I
ramping
do
up.
remember increasing the size of the
Yeah,
building,
yeah.
so building from
Basically,
say 21 to 30 something.
Yeah.
Roughly,
Yeah.
again, they don't know.
so my assumption is to handle the production facility and not eat up that space, they went to a separate facility, plus this is a guess on my part, but also for biosecurity issues. They might have decided to keep their administrative staff out of the production, because that's very biosecure. They even just had to, no, they've got it planned in. It's the other hatchery that is talking about changing their facility so that truck drivers have to shower in and shower out and such, so.
So Jay, maybe if you can talk to Mike or.
Yeah.
You get an updated, site plan, on the square foot of each of the three buildings.
Yeah,
Square footage.
yeah.
And Kathy, just give, Justin and Steve a heads up that we may have to amend that pilot for CWT Farms. That looks, there's more than one building now on the site. They're building.
Fairlight.
Yes,
You remember when John Jennings, we were talking about their new facility out, there's just massive amounts of milk there. There's that much supply out in western New York to supply a dairy processor also.
yeah. We could have handled Fairlife up here. They're gonna ship milk. I mean, for example, if Fairlife goes in western New York, some of our milk from time to time will travel there. And vice versa. If they were up here in the North Country, there'd be milk coming. And we're all in that milk shed together. Right now, we definitely could use another dairy processing plant to eat up some of the excess volume that's out there.
Go ahead.
It's good to have them in New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a second prize at least.
Yeah, well, for a while, and I think I might have reported on this, we thought that they were going to go to Pennsylvania because we knew, and that's actually how I got the gentleman's contact information, is we had established a connection to a farmer in Pennsylvania who was feeding us the information. Well, that fell through. And they came back to New York. And that farmer shared the contact information with me to try to get to the gentleman.
Is it south of Buffalo? When you say western New York, like, is it up on the lake or south of
I
Buffalo
have
or Pennsylvania or?
Two conflicting stories.
Okay.
One is near Batavia, and then one is someplace between Rochester and Syracuse.
Okay, I don't really, I guess they're both western New York, but I don't
Yeah.
specify other, the
Yeah.
Finger Lakes region kind of.
They're not here.
Okay, yeah, they're not here, but I was thinking Lackawanna or something like that. I was
Yeah.
thinking like, you know,
No, it's, I think the farthest west would probably be Batavia.
okay. There's already yogurt manufacturing in Batavia, right? The one of the Greek yogurt manufacturers are there. They have a big turf field too, I know.
Yeah, there was a giant, I don't know if there's still one there. They built the largest yogurt manufacturing plant in the United States.
Right, Giovanni, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
No,
couldn't think of the
not
name.
Chobani. And that place, never went into production.
Okay.
That was bought by HB Hood, and they now use that to make plant-based beverages.
Okay.
Which is very interesting.
And we provide that now, we think is huge.
And then one last note, Channel 7 is gonna do an interview. They requested an interview with me this afternoon, talking about solar project impacts on agricultural land. They wanted to hear about the concerns of use of prime agricultural land for solar projects. So just so you're not surprised, I mentioned.
Okay. Any other questions for Jay?
I got one last thing. A couple times, a while ago, I asked, is the ag committee we just appointed the individual to, do they keep minutes?
Yes, and I'm behind on getting my notes out. I was sending you notes and then I got behind again.
Okay.
We don't do formal minutes because they're not formally
I understand.
board. But I do take notes, but I'm behind on getting them out.
So Jay, I like your new missile look. I'm just wondering if you're racing on Sunday too?
Oh, the black looking at the.
There are some people that might say that, yes.
I don't know if it's gonna help you, Jay.
It hasn't so far.
Well, before Mr. J gets in trouble, we'll end there.
I will sit down. Thank you very much.
We don't want to approach politically incorrect. Manufacturing.
Not much to take at this point, other than, I mean, we're working with North American Tapes right now, and as you know, we're expecting a pilot application, next month, maybe a loan application as well.
Okay. Good. Any questions for manufacturing? We'll move to marketing then.
First off, I wanted to mention, Robin and how great the, newsletter has been going along, and she's getting a great, open rate, and I don't know if you want to make any comments on
Yeah,
that.
so yesterday we were at a 45% open rate, which it was 2 days, which is really, really good. I also did a push to Facebook and as of yesterday afternoon, we had reached 130 people. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And
That's where I ended up
That's
finding it.
right.
I couldn't find it on our webpage for some dumb reason. It's probably right square in the middle of everything, and I just didn't.
no, actually, Marshall, we should probably put it on our
I
webpage.
couldn't find it.
Yeah.
I looked and looked. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm stupid. I can't find it. I went to Facebook and there it
You
was.
should reach out to me and I'll send it to you. But yeah, and
It was late at night.
oh, okay, yeah, no.
There's no,
But it's getting a lot of traction. I sent out to 490 people, so, and I'm, with constant contact, you can see who opens it. And more people, different people are opening it, so it's definitely getting traction, so.
but what I did learn when you put in JCED in Google.
Yeah.
Jersey City Economic Development comes up first, so you might wanna
We gotta do our.
improve our SEO.
Yeah.
For somebody searching from Henderson, New York, I don't think I should get Jersey City.
No.
We should be popping up first, we'll
Yeah.
we'll definitely get on that.
Yep.
How many do you have? in that list?
3,000. That's what I'm also working on is updating, which the newsletter is really helping me. The bounce backs, I track them. Sometimes I type the name wrong. And some of the businesses, it's constant contact, so their servers kick a lot. But I also track and see like, car freshener, 5 people had retired or left. So I'm updating our database to add, and this is the Superior.
Yeah, we've got a lot of old groups that are reviewing, but basically the newsletter is going to review local officials, town, each of the town villages.
Wherever you grab a card at some point, you put it in the system.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all manufacturers, the board, city officials, town supervisors, town clerks, bankers, there's like 7 or 8 groups that I pulled from our database and, it's getting a lot of traction.
So go back to the 45%. Is that 45% of the people that you sent it to did open it?
That's
and read
correct.
it?
That's correct, yep.
Wow, that's
Yep.
neat. That's-
And they're tracking, I've got it so we can track the click-throughs and everything, and we've got a high number of the click-throughs too, which is really good when it comes to, and you can back me up because you're Mr. Marketing. So as from, I'm not a marketing expert, but from what I'm seeing, it's getting a lot of traction.
Fantastic. Anything else for marketing? or-
Yep, couple of quick things. We have a export seminar coming up on May 18th. We're gonna have some folks from the SBA and the U.S. Commerce Service, as well as from Bay Brokerage speaking. That's gonna be on May 18th at 9 o'clock in the morning at the Hilton Garden Inn. This can be a great program. That's something that we're really pushing for. Real quickly, also in June, we're gonna have Colonel Hannon visiting the area in regards to our Office of Local Defense Community Project, which is the Y project. She's gonna be here visiting that and meeting with people. So we're excited about meeting her. And one thing that we're tracking that isn't 100% set in stone, but is probably about 90% there, doing possibly June 1st board meeting at EasyStat. We've had a little bit of back and forth recently with those folks. They wanted to make sure that they're redoing their boardroom area, and so there's a lot of construction there, but they're expecting it to be done. This is fluid. Talked to them yesterday. If this is gonna happen, it will be set in stone here in the next couple of days. And so it might push out. That would be a tour of Metalcraft Marine, potentially, and then and they said yes, but we have to kind of go with Easy Stacks time frame on this. And then a tour of Easy Stack, and then a board meeting, and then a lunch. So that could be a great day. So
That kind of time frame work. Or board meeting.
yeah, is that too quick? Make something like that work? I mean, it would be a longer board meeting, obviously.
Back to Jay, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I know that
Slow to confidence there.
biosecurity in the avian industry, the poultry industry is huge now.
Yes.
And maybe before they actually start production, when CWT goes, before they go live, I'd love to do a tour and see what that's like too. That's something you can set up.
I will absolutely talk to
Cause I imagine once they start operating, it'll never happen.
Oh, you're right, yep.
So.
Yeah,
That'd be a cool tour.
great idea. Thank you.
I actually, and I have to say this, my phone is going crazy right now. And I do have a bone to pick with Jay because one of the members of the agriculture communities, their wife is one of my kids' teachers, and she's pushing puppies on my daughter. And this is not going well right now.
And this relates to me.
I don't know how it does. Is there any way that
You're in the same room.
Can you please reach out to this gentleman and tell him no?
You said puppy.
Not puppy. Yeah, I know, exactly. So that's it. Thank you, Greg.
Any questions on marketing, we'll move into ARPA otherwise. All right, page 24, I think Marshall, you've been kind of heading this up. We've got a spreadsheet showing the grants and the uncommitted portions on the
Yeah.
ARPA.
Yes, there is some grant funds that are still available. They're closed right now. These grants are, except for the training one. As projects, come to us, we get calls about them, asking, for something. So, the thing is, we're gonna reopen as well as the rental property, because people are using less money than they're allocated. So there is gonna be some openings that open back up. They're all closed right now, with the exception of the training one, which has a larger uncommitted balance. So that's kind of the current thing. People are drawing funds down. It's continuing to go very smoothly. Once again, thank you, Joy, for all your help on this. Joy, do you have any comments on how that's going?
It's going very well. People are very appreciative of what we're doing and what you guys have put all the hard work in for, and it's going very well.
Is there any comment about redistributing the funds to different programs, or it's fine just the way it is?
I'd like to keep it the way it is right now, but I could see that coming into play next board meeting.
Because I mean, it does appear that, like, you obviously have a pretty more than 10% surplus in one particular
In one
area,
particular
so
area.
either not well marketed or not needed, or both, or neither, or just.
Yeah.
We, like Jay said, somebody didn't want to fill the paperwork out, it's too much effort.
We use some of the funds perhaps out of the rental property, but to help cover the cost for the single audits. Yeah.
When I jotted a note on this too, and it's probably in your committee's group, but, like what we had with that GPS for the sailboat.
Mhm.
If you reallocate funds, it might be good to keep 25% uncommitted and maybe open up 75% of the available funds to, in case some of these projects come in over. I know they have to submit another grant application.
They do, yeah.
But
Yep.
it's for the same project, so you hate to see them go to the back of the line. If you
Absolutely.
keep, say 25, just as a suggestion,
I appreciate that, and that's, I don't,
except for the $600 one, that's probably not worth it.
yeah. We did look at the sailing one as sort of a one-off, but their argument does, to your point, their argument does, you get into these projects and, more things need to be done. And because you started with this, it opens up an issue over here.
Or you might find a different market.
Could
Hey,
be.
if I bought this $2,000 piece of equipment I didn't know existed, I can market this.
Yep.
As an example.
Yeah, where that's appropriate, because on productivity, for instance, an expansion of services wasn't part, we talked about that at the committee levels.
And while we leave that in your group's capable hands, it looks like it's working well. Any questions on the ARPA or anything more to add?
Rob, can
Yeah.
I offer a comment to put
Go ahead.
things in context for board? Back to the agricultural side of things, the state through New York Farm Viability Institute is getting ready to announce a grant program. We did $400,000 here in Jefferson County for the food resiliency grant, hoping we get another, hopefully 400,000 or 500,000 from the county to do our next round. Just to put things in perspective, the state for our entire region, which would, or well, actually 3 regions, Northern New York, the Hudson Valley, and the central part of New York. They're about to announce a grant program somewhat similar to what we've done. They're going to allocate 1.6 million. So put that in perspective. We're at 400,000 just here in Jefferson County through us. And for a huge region of New York, they're going to do 1.6 million. So I think that speaks volumes to what you have done and what the County Board of Legislators have done to grow agriculture and the other programs that we're doing. I noticed that yesterday and I was like, we're definitely leading the pack here in Jefferson County. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Jay, while you're addressing that, did I see something recently, whether it was state or federal monies, there's monies coming forth to help the meat processing?
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, and that's gonna be a direct grant, right? Programs, I understand.
I believe so, and I believe there's also going to be technical assistance available through to it. And we have gotten that information out to the meat processors. I haven't had a chance to follow back up to see if any of them are interested in it. But yeah, that it's a good potential opportunity for them. Yeah.
Well, it seems to me we've done one round and they've all taken advantage of it.
They all took advantage.
And I've seen, new equipment stuff. But now we can look forward to another round coming beyond our means, right?
Yeah, and there's actually been other programs that we have let them know about, but our program was so successful, bragging for all of us for a second. Our program was so successful and easy to utilize that they haven't used the other programs because ours was the most streamlined and easier to take advantage of. So we've done a really good job here in Jefferson County supporting those meat processors. And I know that there's at least 1 or 2 that are still trying to grow to that USDA status. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything from council in this meeting? I doubt it, but,
No, nothing to report.
okay. Any new business that we're unaware of? I guess that's why it's new business.
Just, that the county met the other night, Bill can vouch for it, but they approved our request for ARPA funds for this next round, so.
Oh, you have to twist the around.
Yep, I've got the printout here if anybody's interested.
Fantastic.
But it'll be another round of the food processing.
Great.
The new program this year will be, tourism enhancement fund, enhancing our tourism destination. Great.
Hang them out, 400.
For, you know,
500.
500. Yeah, 500 for food, 500 for tourism,
Good stuff.
another 100,000, for food processing and, another 100,000 for tourism.
Return on capital investment. Motion to adjourn or any other questions that we haven't discussed?
I'll just say I had a call from, Northern Public Radio the other day, and it's kind of echoing what Jay just said about the legislature, and, they asked about, you know, two things I was proud of, you know, happening here locally. And one of the things I mentioned was the county legislature support for economic development, and what they've done with the ARPA fund to help support business recovery.
Fantastic.
Is that on the radio?
I don't know when, but I don't think he's talking to us, I talked to yesterday. Yes.
Well, thank the whole board, Bill. It is appreciative.
And hugely successful.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
First for Paul, Greg second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone want to say anything? Meeting adjourned. All right. We call to order our Jefferson County Industrial Development Agency hearing for Thursday, May 4th, 2023. Privilege of the floor. I still think we have no outside guests. Okay. Minutes are on page 3 through 5. Again, routine, hopefully reviewed. Looking for a motion to accept as presented.
Yes.
Paul first. Second. Bill second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report, page 6, Paul, please.
I see we have one new application. I assume that is North American Tapes that applied that we'll be dealing with. I don't know, we're dealing with that next month or this month?
This coming project review for May, so it'll be project review this month and then be to the June board meeting.
I sent something out to everyone. Lyle's not here and there was I believe the grant expense shows up as a negative in this report because it was booked in January when it was received in December. I think that's the simplest way to explain.
Yeah, it was
The size of it
the YMCA.
rallied me a little bit. That's why I sent everything out to you guys. We're going to have a discussion later on. We're having a discussion on our DM, if I said it right, marketing later. And the default there. Just a quick question on the demand letter. We've had Sarah's Barbershop for a while with the demand letter. Has anything come of that?
Where we're at now. I think we're submitting a for the judgment for.
Okay.
Never.
And no surprises in the current status of a couple that are a little bit behind. It's been consistent. They get caught up. Like that, the revolving loan fund, everyone's current, except for RBM. And that would be it unless there's more questions. Are we doing an executive session? On
We will
RBS?
do something at the end of this meeting under council. Because we actually have a resolution to discuss that in fall.
That's all I have, unless somebody has a question.
All right, we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented. So, you thought first.
Second.
That was John?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Anything to report, Paul, under alternative energy? We had a meeting,
Couple
but-
of things, we have a meeting set up with one of the large taxing jurisdictions of the large projects, just as get everyone's initial reaction. I think everyone received it. May 10th, I believe. back to the treasurer's side of things, down in alternative energy. Did you send that out to others? You said recently sent out an email string that we received about the 575 being the valuation model. There's a belief that the new valuation model is going to probably have some of these projects just decide paying the taxation with the new valuation model. That could have an impact on the revenue stream if they choose to go that way instead of a pilot through us. And I think that's a discussion we're gonna have.
Where does the 575 valuation put them with like percent of abatement? I know it varies.
I don't know about abatement, but it'll put them. First off, we won't know till we see. My understanding is that it went through like in the budget process. As far as I know.
Okay.
We won't know until you see the final documents coming out. But till the Commissioner of Tax and Finance releases the new model, we can't say.
All right, but,
If it's similar to the other one, they'll be in the 40% of cost.
okay, so 60% abatement, roughly, of normal full taxation if I were a home versus. I know that's a.
Cost, that's a cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rob,
Yes,
you know, cost probably isn't the fairest way to value this type of project.
I guess we'll see then.
So, but in the original model, it was probably half of what the original model is.
Okay.
So
So the assessors are obligated to use that
they will
model.
be obligated to
They
use
can't
that.
come up with their alternative,
On the land, yes, if it's leased, but on the facility, or no.
Well, I'm gonna throw this scenario out there and weigh in on it if you think it's an accurate, statement. It appears to me that under the old, preconceived notion of taxation, like, let's take the large solar projects, which are coming in at that, whatever, $4,500 a megawatt versus build out. In other words, power generator, they're gonna be taxed on output instead of cost, right? So, yeah, so our income base, as they said it. The community would have been better off. We would have received, I think, more tax revenue from the old system with a pilot, 50% abatement for over that 15-year period. We, the community, would have received more benefit in tax dollars from that at 50% abatement than what we're probably going to get in tax revenue under New York State's proposed.
That's not accurate because under New York state law, you can't ask them to pay more than what they would have paid at normal taxation. Okay, so right now, let's take a project in Shimon. They're probably full that taxation about $8,000. Okay. Our numbers are in the 5,500 to 6,000 grand.
Up to 570.
Okay, so right now, we're under full taxation. But if the model operates the way it looks like, every year they're gonna depreciate them in the model. And if there's not an increase in the cost of power or the cost of money doesn't go down, I expect you're gonna see that valuation drop annually. And there's gonna come a point where full taxation and the pilot crosses, and then the discussion's going to be, do they stick with the pilot or do they abandon the pilot and just pay full taxation?
So we may be, some of those projects may be under a pilot, but halfway through the pilot, they're gonna cancel the pilot.
They could, that's the great unknown is what's going to happen. Because build into an income, you got the cost of money, you got the effective tax rate, and you have a depreciation. And we all know that the solar panels are going to depreciate 1 to 1.5% a year, and they degrade over time. So you got to expect that if they're doing it the way, well, first off, if they're doing it the way that the appraisal industry would, it's probably not going to be as bad as what the state's going to do.
The underlying risk of this, we kind of go back to where we started, is if there's less taxation, it means the developer has more money to pay more for the leased land, which might actually put more prime farmland at risk of having some form of development that's not agricultural on it, because I don't have to pay taxes over here, so I can feed the pot over there. That's just my take on it. I don't know if that's legitimate, but less taxes you pay, the more disposable income you have, and land is the only asset the developer can't invent. They gotta go lease it or buy it or figure it out.
I see the problem is they go out and they negotiate the sweetheart leases
Mhm.
with the people. That all of a sudden is a cost against their income stream, which drives down. So if they have to pay high values on the leases, that's going to reduce the size of the pot that they're gonna say they have
It
to
could.
pay taxes.
I mean, it's certainly a balancing act, but it might actually put prime agricultural land more at risk of being developed because there might be more money in the pot to, lease the land versus keep it in production.
The number I've seen that was paid in Chameau for one of those 5 acre farms on land that is borderline grasslands was like $75,000 a facility.
That an annual fee or just a
Yes,
lump
that
sum
was the lease.
for 5 acres?
No, for 20.
Oh, I thought you said 5, sorry.
I think you meant 5 megawatts.
So,
Okay, 5.
so
That's
that to
the
me
wrong
is
business.
really on the high end of what we've heard anecdotally out there, but until we have someone actually bring in their lease number,
Yeah.
we don't know what they're gonna, but the lease is the lease in the current formula that the temporary restraining order was on, the lease is included, so the higher the lease, the lower the outputted value that the assessors can use.
How that affects, the way we have our inverted payment schedule, so that the state system is gonna be, allowing for a decrease in value over time.
I think that's one of the benefits of what we did was,
Yeah,
is that we're gonna be hopefully dropping
Yeah.
right.
not as fast, but pretty close to that. All these communities that have an increasing one, that intersection of those two lines is gonna come quicker.
And while they could drop the pilot, the benefit of the pilot that we have in place now, it does give them some predictability.
Mhm.
So they know what the payments are year to year to year.
But I would say though, the concern over prime farmland.
Yeah.
Is going to be a non-issue,
Okay.
because let's look at a 5 year window. New York State's got this agenda and they can't meet it with what's on the playing field right now because we don't have the transmission capability. For our locality, for upstate New York, Lewis, Jefferson, and St. Lawrence counties, the next 5 years, we've got 3 projects on the board now that aren't going to be energized because they can't be built and energized until they solve the power grid, a major transmission line.
Mhm.
It takes at least 2 or 3 years to build a transmission line if New York State wants to do it.
A lot longer.
So let's look at a 5 year window. The projects that are before us right now is going to be, they've hit the wall. There's gonna be no more room for projects. There might be some community solar projects pop up around, the 5 megawatts. They'll continue to come and they'll be accommodated. But still, in the scheme of things, in a 5 year period, there's no more land going to be taken for solar panels. And I predict in 5 years, the state's going to get in sync with reality and realize, the false.
Well, that word.
When it comes to, doing more solar, so.
And I agree with you on the large solar projects about running up against that wall. But I would maintain that those community solar projects are just as dangerous as the large solar projects, because every time you take 5 or 10 acres in a parcel of land that's agriculture, and you put that into solar production versus agricultural production, you in essence are taking another 5 to 10 acres around it and changing the production capability, the yields and so on of that surrounding land. So it's that postage stamp effect. It's the same reason the 5 acre development lots. forgive me for forgetting the
Spaghetti lots.
Yeah, it's the same reason those are a problem. Yeah, it's only a small postage stamp in this bigger parcel, but it changes the entire pattern around that project.
The only thing I would say to counteract that, they're all reviewed at the local level and the locals can make that decision. So where you're gonna have that impact, agriculture has more input than we will when they go through the ORES,
Sure.
where they basically ignored everything that was brought in front of them. So,
And if the real criteria that the concern is prime farmland, there's the amount of acreage reduction. If you go back to there's 86 megawatts of community solar in the county right now, which is a small commercial farm. The three that are the large ones are over 100 megawatts. If you combine all of our community solar right now, according to Lyle's spreadsheet, we're at 86 megawatts. I would say, and my challenge to removing prime farmland would be this: of those 86 megawatts, all those small communities, projects, go in and evaluate how many acres of prime farmland could we say we've lost thus far. Very minimal.
No,
Very,
because,
very, because there's not that much prime farmland going under solar panels. In the reality, conceptually, it's a big community concern and everybody doesn't want it. But in reality, the amount of land that's disappearing under solar as prime is so minuscule.
My only point was if there was more money offered to farmer A meant to say, I don't need to get up at 5 every morning or 4 or whatever. I mean, all it is just there's now possibly a financial incentive. The state hasn't offered the disincentive that we're trying to protect food resiliency and prime farmland. They're actually making it easier. And, you know, to Paul's point, part of the model and everything, I actually think they pay these farms to actually not be in production. Unlike a actual farm, you don't make money if you're not selling your milk and you're not doing anything. I think if these solar farms in the new production scheme, they get paid for low power prices. They get reimbursed and subsidized for not actually doing what they're designed to do. And that's the part that the state is wrong. You shouldn't disincentivize laziness or inefficiency or whatever. I mean, that's what this has done. And so I could be totally wrong, but if developer A offers farmer A little bit more money, it makes it worth their while and say, geez, I was gonna sell this farm anyway, I might just do this, do away with it, and developer A might get a tax incentive, they might get, you know, build something that can't actually produce and still get paid. I mean, the state has actually designed, theoretically, they've designed success to the developer, and actually, you know, the landowner could potentially be successful financially for just ridding themselves of a asset that cannot be renewed. It's a non-renewable asset. There's no more land to invent in New York State. It's just here. We're done. Let's just start knocking down homes.
But I would argue that benefit.
What's that?
Don't give them any idea.
Well, for the right price, you knock mine down.
the last thing I have to say is I was in Shimo and I was talking to someone and number 3 Windwich Field in Lewis County wind farm bought 2 parcels out towards Point Peninsula and instantly set me into, oh my gosh, we got a wind farm coming. But it turns out that was part of, they had to buy set aside land as part of their agreement to get their other permit. And I think Marshall brought it up, and my brother lives near the father of the Lewis County manager, and they got the answer that this is set aside land to make up for land they took in Lewis County. So we, in a way, they benefit a little bit in the line by.
Watch every night, there's a solar farm in Henderson on the way to Lewis State Park. And it's a migratory path for deer, but it's all fenced now, and the deer get caught inside of it. I'm sure they can go up and down over fences, but you know, one that's injured, maybe not so easily. And the geese have nowhere to land anymore because it used to be a field full of geese. And I'm just watching them like trying to land on stuff. It's like, they're all big animals, but they basically took a big chunk of land that was migratory and avian use.
They're
And
all
now it's
on
industrial.
now.
Well, there we go. Probably get a little mild shock when you land on a solar panel. Anything else for, this discussion? Otherwise, we'll move to 146 Arsenal. Update.
Things are moving along well. They're still on schedule, planning to be pretty much completed by November. As Mark mentioned, our project manager from our defense, community cooperation, will be coming in town to visit the site.
Gonna have to work on getting a JCIDA flag on the green. That's it. You guys should.
Oh, that's
great. You should have thought of that.
That is a good.
You should have thought of that. You usually put a big American flag on it. I don't think there's a flag at all on it.
Down.
Yeah.
The crane's down now, yes.
Yeah, great.
Ah, there we go. I thought of it too late. Any questions on 146? Otherwise, we'll move into Convo.
In Conval, it was just a formality.
Page 15 of our packet, and then let Dave cue it up here.
There, I asked Harry to submit the new amended application, primarily reflect the increased cost, just because typically when we're doing our project and we're referring to, where our resolution refer to the overall cost of the capital investment of the project. In this case, the capital investment is going up, not so much because of any increase in the building, but more so because he's added additional equipment lines, to meet production demand that he's anticipating. So you'll see it gone from a
All right.
$65 million project to 100 something million.
All right, so we've got 15 through 36. There's one supplemental document, and then page 50 and 51, so it's kind of scattered throughout the packet.
You may want to just change your personal contact. Set that on it.
It's probably the old application, but I don't see it. Okay, so we have the pilot application, so we're looking at what page. Skipping down through here.
Well, that's resolution was a big one.
Yeah, so there is, this is just for like. pilot
So this is
application.
just a motion to accept the amended application.
Okay. You're good with it, getting one review?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll ask you. It's already, so can we have a motion to accept the amended application as presented? I'll move it. Dave Converse first,
Second.
Lisa second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye.
Yeah, there's no change in benefits or anything. That's just really just more for the record.
None opposed, motion carries. Okay. So,
Is that a good hard figure on 44 million for new building construction? Is anybody?
Do the math, it's, sometimes we have to look at square foot costs.
That's what that's figure reflects. Or,
No, it's a total package, because I don't know what the, I haven't done that there. If you do the, whatever the overall cost of,
Cost of money.
it's a square foot cost. It's a unique, other than the building.
So under new business, Avagen building review, starts on page 37, and then there was a supplement sent, which is on the table, the color print of the proposed, addition. A question, so the only thing that we're looking at is the red hash, not the other things that say building additions?
Those are previous editions.
Okay.
They've done other things.
It's a confusion. And I did learn today that you want me to bring up.
Well, we're not the designers.
Okay.
You're using it past the, project. At this time, I'm the designer.
Okay. Opportunity is not actually involved with the addition. Yeah, even though it's on their drawing.
Yeah.
They like it. So page 30.
So basically adding a small biosecurity facility for drivers to come in, shower off, change clothes, to prevent any contamination of the avian influenza. That's
They need approval from us.
Yeah.
yeah, because of construction, it's approval. Covenant. I did send out to the other Pennington Park. The only response I got back was saying no problem. I told them let me know if they had opposition.
It's in compliance with our deed restrictions anyhow, so.
Yeah,
I make a motion to approve it.
okay. First Dave Converse first, Paul, one second. Any further discussion?
so I didn't realize that. I was thinking that this addition this amendment or this change was for the new site, it's not, it's for the old site.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was legal
yeah,
just to get the.
I had the same thought.
Just realize that.
Okay, first, second, any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Page 43. Okay, so now we go to page, the other one, the resolution. Page 43, we have a resolution to basically modify the bridge loan. I think there's a letter in here requesting 6 months.
Yeah, it says for those.
Effective June 1, and then there's a resolution. Do you need to add self-explanatory, I guess?
Yep,
Do you want
it's
to add anything?
just allowing time to firm up, his permanent financing.
Okay, so we have a letter, from Conval, and we have a resolution. 05.04.2023.01, resolution for authorizing a modification to the revolving bridge loan to Conval Energy Inc. Whereas $1,050,000 participation bridge loan for Conval Energy matures on June 1, 2023. Conval has requested a 6-month extension. Staff recommends approval of the request effective June 1, 2023. Motion to accept the resolution is read. So Hill first. Second. Dave Converse, second. Any other discussion? So this will essentially give them till December 1, basically. Done?
So what is the current status of the financing process?
They're expecting to sign an agreement with the EGAT, the Thailand group in June.
Mhm.
And they're finalizing terms on their other, one aspect of permanent financing. They've got, and I was on the call with a lender, poised to provide, the C-based lending, you know, where the counties, I think I've mentioned this before, so the county is actually posted, it's under review now. The plan is that the June board meeting, the county will pass, the resolution authorizing the C-based program, which basically allows the lender to, basically tax them, to put a lien on the property that you know, proceed to any other liens except for any tax obligation. That, because it provides longer term financing, it reduces the risk of the lender, provide longer term, more favorable terms, lower interest rate and savings to the company. So that'll be another aspect of their finance. And then
This letter indicates too that you've got 2 more revenue streams, US and European, so.
So
yeah, and they're finalizing some of those agreements too, for one of the other lenders wants some of those agreements, you know, committed to.
but those agreements aren't final yet.
Yeah, right.
All right. Any other?
They've been pretty transparent, I would say, including us on some of the conference calls or even joining some of the meetings over there with the potential investment lenders.
Do they have final site plan approval?
I think they still got to provide a final stamp drawing.
They actually submitted a revised site plan, revised building footprint that actually meets all the requirements. There were a few comments on it. We thought that they were gonna be at the planning board meeting this past week, but they weren't quite ready. So expect that to be done in June.
Okay. We have any other discussion for a second? We can take a vote yet. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
I will share, we might, it was in the newsletter that, you know, we sent you a summary of the meeting when we got down to March out of Washington, but it was also interesting, when the folks from the State Department during that panel discussion were noting with Thailand, how a lot of Southeast Asian countries, and the majority of their energy is coming from coal-fired plants and smaller percentage of renewables, whereas Thailand is sort of the opposite. You know, they're kind of doing some long-range planning, sustainable energy, and actually, a higher proportion of their energy in the countries coming from renewable energy sources. So it's kind of interesting to hear that going on.
Okay,
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Going back to the pilot.
Yeah.
That we just, resubmitted for Convo. I can't recall, has there been other pilots we've done where we, on the payment structure over 15 years, where we did no collection of taxes for the first 5-6 years?
Yes,
Which other project is that?
Well, it's not us collecting taxes, the taxingers, so I think some of the housing projects were done,
Right, one of them was done, yeah, and then,
there were alternative, distribution schedules in there, and I think the county may have waived the collection to deal with some school issues for a couple of years. So, but I think the bigger question is alternative distribution schedules have been done in the past, and they may be done in the future too.
I know we did with Great Lakes too,
was the Conval, the deviation was one, the length of the pilot, but also the between the county and the school district agreed. School district, again, they wanted to see a decrease. The school district pilot payments for the Conval facility would go up and then go down, because they want it coming down those last couple of years. And to allow the total collection to be the same, county agreed, okay, we'll take less early on and take more at the end. The county school districts needs to go in the opposite direction. So in the end, they both get the same total they would have got otherwise. County was, it really adjusted.
And that goes back to the same thing that you're gonna be bouncing off with on these, any future pilots is the tax cap. This is all tax cap driven by the schools. And we're gonna hear that probably next week in our meeting, is that the schools are worried that at the end of a pilot, that they're gonna have to do a tax cap override, which requires a 2/3 vote. And at some point, the legislature in Albany's gotta deal with that. If I was on the school board, I'd be saying no. And we're not even going to discuss it until you get the tax cap calculation fixed. It's a simple fix. But they gotta take care of that, or we're gonna be bouncing off it. If you see what they did in line to get around that. Yep. That's as I've seen is what's happening elsewhere with it. It's ridiculous. But they had to do it because of the tax cap.
And for some of these expansion projects we've done, like we've done a few 10-year pilots where it's been 5 years, 100% abatement of the increase, and then 50% abatement, and then they go to full taxes a year for it. Over 15 years, it still balances out to 50% discount, but it front loads the benefit, helps with the cash flow of the project. But the tax jurisdiction benefit because it gets on the full taxation sooner, 5 years later.
So we've got no problem defending that when the time comes.
No, and the tax jurisdiction all agree to that.
All right,
I just want to go back.
go ahead.
One thing that I think everybody, if you listen to some of the talking heads that constantly bash the IDA, when we do an alternative distribution, we're not forcing that on the taxing jurisdiction. If the taxing jurisdictions are the ones that have to agree to the terms, or there's no pilot. And that's an important thing that everybody misses, is that we're giving them the mechanism to get there, but it's the taxing jurisdiction's decision to use the mechanism.
Yeah, for just for the newer board members, that's something this board does, but most IDAs across the state, all they have to do if they do a deviation is just to notify the taxers, but they don't seek approval.
I did learn that as a new board member, and I was pleasantly surprised. Yep.
Page 45 of our packet, we have. I'm gonna let Dave maybe take the lead on kind of what the purpose of this is, but we have a resolution to deal with essentially a loan that's been defaulted, and there may or may not be a request from some board members for executive session to get advice from counsel. Put you on the spot.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for what you did discuss.
Can we hold that for 1 minute? I just wanted to hear from Dave, kind of like for public consumption. Is this an amount we're going to agree upon, or has it already been agreed upon with the RBM?
So basically, I mean, the public, which we talked about our executive session, so they currently have an outstanding balance of $362,000.
Yeah, which I'll read into the minutes.
We did a demand letter. They came back and offered to sell for $200,000 plus legal expenses.
Okay.
There's no agreement at this point because I told them I can't. I told what the board's target was, but I said I can't commit to any agreement to the board formally.
For this resolution, which we'll then explore with council some other information, this resolution is essentially setting our target to say, this is what we are want to collect. and we don't have a counter agreement from the default, RBM. Okay, that was my main question that I think the public can and should hear. Now back over to you.
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session quickly for, meet with council and get advice from council.
Okay,
Second.
first for Dave Conver, second for Paul Warnick,
And all staff can stay?
Yes,
Yeah.
all staff and
and
council
council.
and, LDC members that are present.
For second, any, all in favor, aye? Okay, any opposed? All right, sorry, Craig, we'll be shortly.
Gonna put you in the waiting room, Craig. Let me, this.